and gentlemen, analysts and associates, welcome to your managing director secretary's favorite podcast, the Big Swinging Decks Podcast by Litquidity and Moran. This is not financial advice. You'd be a bottom bucket analyst to make investment decisions based on what is discussed on this show.
Welcome back to another edition of Big Swinging Decks. Lit, how the fuck are you this week? What's going on? What's new? What's unusual? Talk to me.
Well, we have a very funny episode planned out here. We surveyed the audience, and let's just say they're all kind of sick fucks. But I think like within this, there's a needle, or was it haystack? No, needle in the haystack.
There's a haystack in the needle, as they say.
Yeah,
that's what they say in South Carolina, actually.
Yeah,
I thought she was my second cousin. Anyways. Yeah, no, we've learned that our audience, our shareholders, that you guys are extremely horny. That is what we learned when we submitted questions to ask during this special episode of just all we're going to do is cash or pass. And the other thing, too, is, this is the first week when we're recording this. So we're recording this on Tuesday, June 7th. This is the first week of interns. So, City is kind of a bopping, but you posted a phenomenal video this weekend at a certain bar, didn't you?
Oh, yeah, Phoebes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's
back in style.
It's back. It
New
is
York's
back.
Dead. Shut up.
Yeah, no, there's one guy who commented just like, there's no fucking way like the city's back. What are you talking about? I'm like, look at the fucking video. It's back to its heyday of like, waiting an hour to get in. Now, would I ever wait an hour again just to get into Phoebes? No, but it was pretty much the thing you did when you were an intern. So, I don't know.
I know.
Yeah.
I mean, I was thinking about it though. It's like I honestly think we should host something there. Like I think this is the summer of the intern. It's the summer of canceling your VP. And so, why not live and let live? We should do something there. I think we should throw some, maybe with Friday beers. We should talk to him about that.
I'm so down.
Hell yeah. Should we just kick off this special perverted edition of Cash or Pass?
I'm so down. It's going to be very good. If you're listening to this, I recommend you grab a drink and or maybe a blunt. I don't know if it's legal where you're at, because it's pretty good.
So how we have this organized, and like for those listening, full transparent, basically we kind of come up with an outline. We put it on a Google Doc, that's shared, obviously. Honestly, biggest transition lit for me going from finance to whatever the hell we're doing right now is using the Google Docs and Google Sheets. Like, what? I still don't get it. But anyway, so we're trying. I tried using what?
Yeah, we don't have like a firm-wide intranet. Like the shared drives and like what big banks use. I mean, we got to settle with Google Drive right now, and it honestly works good enough for what it is, but definitely not for like heavy modeling or PowerPoint
well, there's no
work.
because like we're using Macs now. We're Mac guys now. We're creative, so like there's no shortcut. So it's like I had to Google how to control special paste, like all of this stuff in here, because like I didn't know how to do it on a Mac. But okay,
that's why we have interns.
Yeah, we have interns. We have interns now. But so
intern season.
So we kind of have this broken out in kind of general topics and then horny topics basically. So, Lit, why don't we just alternate with these, and then we can kind of do the general switch, blah blah blah, whatever works.
Sure, let's do it.
Cash or pass. All right, so this one is, and all of these are shareholder submitted, right? So this is going to be Grubhub, but for cannabis, and the unique thing is we're gonna call it Bong Bros.
I personally think this is a great idea. Funny enough, like there's a truck that's been going around the city. It's like a green truck. I forget.
There's like they all have Alabama license plates, right?
Yeah.
And they're not selling real weed. They're selling like THC or whatever, and they're always impounded, always.
Oh, really? No, I mean the one I frequented was selling some real shit. But
it was real. Yeah, well, maybe with the law change now, they're pushing it.
The point is, I'm very bullish on this one. I think it's a great opportunity. Clearly, as New York, legalizes, and rather the rest of the nation starts to wake up and legalize cannabis, I think a service like this will be great, right? Like who wants to actually go out and go to a coffee shop or a dispensary or whatever, that sells this when they can just get it delivered for free. Same with food.
Yeah.
So I'd be bullish on this.
I got into edibles during quarantine because I just found it as a way to like be able to kind of relax at the end of the day after working. And there was this service, and it's called. Actually, this is really funny. I'm going to tell this story. This is fucking hilarious. Both of us aren't working there anymore. So this service is called tech support. This is going to be a great episode already, right? Service is called tech support. So you text them and you say, "Hey, I need tech support." You have to use like Signal or some shit, right? So you say, "I need tech support," and like for edibles, you say, "I need .edi files," and they'd be like, "Okay, we're sending a technician over shortly." And you have to introduce people and whatever. Actually, one of the I like posted something about this, and someone like who I've never met in person reached out, and I introduced him to it. But so my buddy at Centerview, who sat next to me, like my absolute boy, whom I love dearly, he texted me one Sunday night, and I had an edible, and he's like, "Yo, bro, what's tech support's number?" And I send him the tech support number, and so then like a few minutes later, he's like, "Bro, did you just introduce me to your drug dealer?" And he sends me a screenshot, and he's texting tech support, and he's like, "Hey, this is XYZ, from the firm. I need help, accessing, getting my password reset." And they're like, "Who sent you?" And he's like, "Oh, what?" And then they're like, "Who referred you?" And then he realized that it was a drug dealer and not the Centerview tech support. So hilarious.
Love that. Well, that is hey, I mean. Fucking that should be part of the show that we've been talking about before, right? Like that's a perfect thing. You get it mixed up. The guy like ends up actually making delivery and somehow actually fixes his tech support issue.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
He's like, bro, just unplug that shit,
Have you seen the like TikToks of the guy who he's like the classic tech like fixer-upper guy? Whatever you call him, repair guy? I don't know. I'm not high, by the way. I know I just sounded that way. It's 11 o'clock in the morning. I'm not. This is just me personally on Red Bull. But anyway, those are funny TikToks.
Yeah, no, I've so all right, back to this. Okay, back to this. So a lot of anecdotal stuff, which helps the investment.
This is going to be a rambling episode.
Yeah, look, I'll say just to bring this back into the investment opportunity. While you were telling this tech support story, I looked up the size of the cannabis market in the U.S. and it has grown significantly, and it is a $25 billion plus market. So I think huge TAM, a loyal recurring customer base. I am very bullish on this. So I would go cash.
Well, all the Canadian cannabis companies, their stock has just been horrible. I haven't really followed the industry, honestly, but I know there's been a lot of movements. Maybe something we should look into more for future episodes. A little deep dive,
we'll get Carl. Yeah, we'll get Carl to pull some industry primers from BOFA and Stiefel and Cantor. Cowan, I forget which bank
Cowan
is like.
Actually, Cowan has a separate cannabis group, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, there you go. So we'll get that one first.
Oh, also, I want to issue an apology to the shareholders. I have spread misinformation. I have screenshotted a post from Wall Street Oasis that said that LionTree started an adult entertainment banking group. I have spoken to individuals at LionTree because I was like, why am I not head of this group? And they have said that they have not started that group. So, I'm currently at Litquidity until anyone wants to hire me as managing director of Wall Street's first adult entertainment banking group, where Lit and I will both join as co-vice chairs.
Hey, or we could take one of those advisory, consultancy type roles, which is pretty good, and you get none of the liability.
Well, I mean, I was saying to Eric last week, I was like, so when are you gonna put me on the board of Rick's? And he's like, oh man, I would, but he's like, I would. But,
that's a great impersonation.
I've been around him. So, wait. Yeah. Here, let me do this one, because this is my favorite thing. So he's like, you know what, man? All these motherfuckers, they ask me, they say, man, when are you gonna be writing a book? When are you gonna write about your life? And you know what I tell him? And he pauses and he looks at me and goes, I ain't done yet, motherfucker, and starts Oh my God. That's my East Texas accent.
Shit.
Sorry to everyone.
I mean, it's too good. That's wow. Okay. So
this is nuts.
Mark, let's bring this back. Okay. So
okay.
All right. So On a similar note to this, someone else sent in an idea for dry ice infused blunts. So the smoke is cold. Call it high ice. Cash or pass?
Okay, so I'm gonna be honest. I'm not really that experienced in like actually like the smoking part of I cough a lot and like I look like a loser. So I wouldn't say like I fully get that question, but you know what? I think cannabis is it's as you said, a big TAM. So you know what? I'm cashing it 100% cash.
All right, cash it. Let's get that
Dry,
cold.
but I guess dry ice is kind of dangerous though. Like you'd have to have like something to put it in there, right?
I don't fucking know, but all right, you're cashing it. So
yeah, whatever. Too late now. Sorry.
All right, so
okay.
All right, yeah. Let's move to the next one.
Yeah, this next one is rolling up boomer-owned landscape companies, and I think you could apply this to actually a lot of things. Like I'm actually thinking about. A majority of, I feel like Harris Williams, Richmond's finest, the Centerview of the South, or, Centerview is really the Harris Williams of the North, but a phenomenal bank that I love and cherish that actually they did not hire me.
Yeah, you definitely strike me as a Harris Williams stan.
Yeah, well, we had a recruiting event and we went shooting. And they said, okay, raise your hand if you haven't shot a gun before. And I raised my hand, and then I looked around and realized I was the only person raising my hand. And culturally, I would say, that didn't work out for me. But I mean, they're great, but they represent a lot of these middle market companies that are all roll-up plays. So take, a plumbing business, whether it's landscape, something like that. And I think that there's a shit ton of opportunity there, especially kind of, in like the Southeast where there's a lot of like diversified smaller businesses. I mean, it's the same play as Eric's strip clubs, right? That you have these older operators. It's all a very disparate, landscape, pun intended, of who's out there, and you can really get a lot of synergies
fragmented
by kind of
landscape.
Yeah, right. But my baseball team in Little League, we were Wheat's Lawn and Landscape, and they were like the largest landscape sponsor in the area, but we sucked ass. It was bad. So what do you think about that? I mean, I think roll-up plays are just great in general.
I totally agree. It's one of those, as you said, it's mainly mom and pop. There's no like big landscape, lobby in Washington. But I'd say that, yeah, you lever it up, you instill some best practices and make like some, I don't know, investments into like good machinery and shit. And you can really grow this and execute on low multiple expansion, which a lot of people find rare, but that's where the opportunity is when you're in that like lower middle market to middle market, like roll up plays. So, I have some friends who are actually doing this. It's like a Harvard Business School graduate, like wet dream to like be an entrepreneur. It's like, hey, I'm just roll up XYZ and hey, it works, right? Like you take whatever you learned in private equity and banking and execute. So I'm cashing this one.
Yeah, and it's interesting because, it's always in these unsexy businesses that there's this massive opportunity because, people overlook them. And I think like as bankers, we've been trained, it's like, okay, you look at this high revenue, industrial tech, software play, blah, 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 SaaS, all that stuff. But it's oftentimes these, these kind of less sexy, opportunities that, there's something there. But I think too, the other thing that's wild is that, it's a space that's dominated by, actual operators and less kind of private equity type individuals. So it's interesting to see when someone kind of goes from Wall Street or high finance to doing something like that. But one thing that I've been thinking about a lot, another Eric reference, is that I had asked him, would you guys ever get into some type of gambling thing with the clubs, with gambling becoming and sports betting becoming legal in a lot of states? Right. And he was like, no, why would I ever do anything with competition? And I think like I've never thought about a business from that perspective. That it's like, yeah, why would you, if you can be in a business with no competition, like, rolling up lawn care, and you can have an app or something to schedule all that, like, why not, Yeah. I mean, it's the same thing as like dry cleaning. Like I use this dry cleaning service called like I Hate Laundry or something, but it's an app and it's so much easier than having to, and they come to my door and, rather than going downstairs. So there's a lot of opportunity to put tech and kind of a customer focus on that stuff. So
love that. Very, very articulate, Mark.
Thank you. Okay.
All right, so
let's do a Sympanomics one.
Sympanomics one. All right, let's scroll down to our nice list here. And funny enough, I mean, there is like no originality here because we can go off the list here. Everything around revolves around including a strip club in a certain place that doesn't have a strip club right now. So let's start with a car repair shop with a strip club inside. Cash or pass?
Cash. I think, look, we saw the prices of automobiles, both new and used, skyrocket during COVID because, everyone wants to take trips, all that. You got to keep your car clean. What are you going to do while your car is getting detailed? You're going to want to, get a nice little dance, maybe talk to an entertainer, if you will. I think it's a great idea. I think it's a really good way. Also, too, if the dancers wanted to make some extra money, they could, dry the car as well. Yeah, that could be a whole thing as well.
The wax on, wax off. Yeah,
exactly.
I like that.
Cash in that for sure.
All right, cash. All right. So next one in this, I can't finish the sentence. All right. So next one in this theme of strip clubs inside of other businesses. So a barber shop with a strip club inside. Cash
okay,
or
so
pass?
this one, I'm going to have to pass on this. And let me be very specific why.
Okay.
So if you're getting your hair cut and, you got someone on top of you or your head's on a swivel, it's going to get fucked up somewhere. Like, when they're trimming in the back or whatever, you're going to divot to the head, if someone just starts twerking on you. No way. I'm not get the scissors out of my face when, someone's twerking and there's glitter around, okay?
You're getting like that close razor shave on your on your beard and like, oh god, all right, that's
then too. What if the barber gets distracted? Then that's a no win for anyone.
Yeah, no, all right.
Separation
Pass on that
of
one.
the strip club and the barber shop. Honestly, that's what the founding fathers wanted.
All right, Mark. Last one that I'll ask you for this one. So a strip club inside an investment bank.
Oh,
like
yeah.
like the lobby or like
I am cashing. Yeah, like on the lot. It's like because there's all this. When we were talking to Clay, and one of his first business ideas was to utilize all of that space in the lobbies of these large, Midtown Manhattan office buildings. Perfect. Put a stripper pole in there. When I'm walking into, Centerview or 30 Rock at Lazard, hell yeah, that's what I want to see. Perfect. 100%. No more would I would be taking walks around the park if I was at Credit Suisse or on Madison Square Park. I'd just be going in the lobby. I think that's great.
Yeah, it's better than going on the walk. It's better than, like smoking a cigarette right outside the lobby. Like, and I think, you're stimulating the economy and activating vacant real estate into something that's, valuable for whoever owns it. So I think it's great. I'm cashing this one too.
Massive opportunity is for some like really hot chick to just walk around Midtown selling Zyn during the day. You'd get all the analysts buying, be wild. The one, actually, this is a funny story. One time, speaking of lobbies, when I was at Credit Suisse as an intern, I remember seeing, it was this big, anyone who's like been there, it's a, very big lobby in 11 Madison. And so, it's almost
very
maybe,
old too, right?
Yeah, it's very, actually, so the building itself, if you look at it, if you look at it with this context, it makes sense. So it was built to be the tallest building in the world at the time. It was going to be taller than the Empire State Building, taller than anything.
No way.
And it's an entire city block. But they ran out of money, and so that's why it's only like 14 or whatever, however many floors, and that kind of sums up Credit Suisse itself. Like big ambition, then just it didn't work out.
Got him.
but so in the lobby one time, this managing director got served by his ex-wife with divorce papers, and I've never seen something wilder and funnier. It was nuts.
Wow. I'm just picturing the Credit Suisse building that's like, they wanted to have like a long shaft, but now they ended up like a chode with only
It's girthy though. It's a girthy building.
Very girthy.
It's funny though, because Addition, which is in like the building across the street, there too in the clock tower. CS used to have both buildings, but now it's just the 11 Madison. But so Edition is a spot frequented by some upscale clientele, right? And certain things go on in a place like that. And I remember when I was an intern, two kids came running inside their analysts. And they're like, "Yo, we gotta go over across the street. Tijan's there. Tijan, who was the CEO at the time, and he was just apparently with two women who I don't know how they're being compensated or what, but it was just wild. He's no longer CEO, obviously, anymore."
Love that. I actually didn't know how to pronounce his name, so good.
I think
good
I
to
did.
know.
I probably did. I mean, but I pronounce most things wrong, so just chalk it up to that.
True. All right.
Okay.
Shall we move on to the next one?
Let's move on. Okay, so this one, it's a social platform that's focused around financial literacy, and so supplemental lessons linked to schools' learning management systems. I'm going to let you take this one because I'm a little bit unfamiliar with some of these words.
Well, literacy, I guess, is something that I think is lacking.
Is important.
This
is a pro-literacy podcast. I'm so pro-literacy.
Exactly, and also financial literacy, and that's something that I think it's something that we do through exec it's something that we do through just general memeing about Wall Street culture, but I think something that we don't currently do, which is probably a good expansion plan, is to offer financial literacy, right? In high school, people need to know how to do their taxes, how to think about finances that are very important versus the fucking Pythagorean theorem, and it's definitely something that should be integrated, and obviously there will be a lot of money in this because it's it's needed. And so the social platform around it, I'm not sure what that will really do, or what people are all going to talk about that. I feel like that any financial literacy type platform is just going to evolve or devolve into, hey, what stock should I buy? And
it'll be like stock twits, something like that,
some degenerate shit that's all right, I mean, whatever. But overall, bullish on financial literacy, and if we could do something that's more of a financial literacy platform, not really social media first, that's something I would cash for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I think I have 3 points here. One, I think as a whole, as a nation, financial literacy is something that it's honestly shocking that you can go and learn how to diagram sentences, write in cursive, do the Pythagorean theorem, know what a rhombus is, but not know how to do your taxes at 18. It's nuts. Or buy an assault rifle, but you can't do your taxes. So that's seems like priorities are good over there, but it's one of these things that it's tough to explain this, and I feel for us, I've always seen the business model here is we get kids in at 18 when they're thinking about becoming potentially a finance major in college. They subscribe to exec blah blah blah. But there's this whole life cycle of preparation for not only banking jobs but anything in finance, overall training. Because for me, I think a liberal arts education is so valuable, or just being able to learn about whatever you want, and that if you want to go major in biology or whatever, you should do that and not worry that you're not going to be able to learn about basic financial concepts. So there should be there's an opportunity for kind of a supplemental, marketplace for this type of stuff to be able to do it in a a Khan Academy, but cooler and not lame.
Yeah, so I will actually have to chime in here with a portfolio company that I invested in.
I set you up for that.
Yeah, I was just hey, why the fuck was that not top of mind? And they're basically doing that. It's not the social platform side of financial literacy, but what they're doing is creating an app that basically compartmentalizes everything that you need into little mini courses. So so the name of the company is Parthian, Parthean, and basically it's an app that you open up, it's sleek, whatever, and it's what do you want to learn about today? How to buy an index fund, or how to think about choosing a credit card, or paying off your student loans, or how to diversify your portfolio. And it's things like that I think are really interesting, that will at least it's a resource that people will be able to go to for certain questions they have. And what they're doing is partnering with influencers that specialize in certain categories, personal finance up to, more investing savvy type people to offer little curriculums, if you will, that you can pick and choose based on, what interests you. So
I hate the personal finance influencers. Just like, shut up.
I mean,
it's you know what I mean? It's not, that's not our brand.
Yeah, no, definitely not.
That's fascinating. We should talk about that after offline, because one of the other things for RCI, because I can say this now, but probably what we're doing with Rick seems a little bit crazy to a lot of people. But part of this is they're a unique company. They have a unique story to tell, and one of the unique things is that basically how we got this opportunity is I was making jokes online that 100% of my portfolio was in Rick stock, which it wasn't. And I was doing that because it was a joke about a strip club. And I was doing that because it was funny, but it was also, in hindsight, demeaning to the people who work there, right? And so in realizing that there's this stigma attached to it, there's all, X, Y, and Z, all these things we can get into in another day. But one of the things is we're going to be helping some of the dancers to tell their stories and to really be able to communicate what is actually going on, and how this is beneficial for some of the employees' lives, and who they really are, bringing that to light, all of that, because it's been something that's been kind of kept in a vice world. But part of that is we're going to be figuring out a way to be able to help them with financial literacy, and so this ties directly into it. Anyone who has anyone who has any experience with developing kind of like basic, a plan for this in a way that would be kind of comprehensive, for any level. But we're really trying to figure out a way to be able to bring in, some type of equity component to compensation and go from there. But that's a tangent aside. Back to cash or pass.
Love that. I mean, that is some groundbreaking shit, Mark. So
we're not as bad as we seem.
Now let's move on to the next one. So here we go. I think you might like this one, but all right, an all-purpose room where you can rent time and smash the shit out of plates and break shit, like take a sledgehammer to a car or whatever. So then after that, you go back to crunching numbers at your desk and you vented. Cash or pass?
Don't they have these in Japan?
I have
like anger
not,
rooms or something.
I'm not familiar with them, but I think they would exist somewhere in the world.
Yeah. Well, so I mean, I'm 100% cash. I think it's I would say back in my more immature days, I used to throw things at the wall sometimes. It's like a Friday at like 7 and you're about to like go on a date or something, then like some dick VP sends you a request and just bam, something at a wall.
So you used to go full Kyle, Kyle's like the meme, of like the Monster energy drink, and you just punch a hole in the wall. That was you?
I never would punch it because I didn't want to hurt my hand. I was at least that smart, but I just damaged stuff, which was stupid. But I know how to plaster. Yeah, I know how to plaster walls now. But so yeah, back in the day, that would have been really helpful. Now, but I mean, I think that's a great way to take out stress. And if you can do it in a controlled environment, like even just have 3 minutes or so, like, but that's exercise, boxing, whatever, just a way to get that aggression out. Like, yeah, I love that idea. If you could like have one, at each bank or on each floor, that'd be hilarious. Instead of a Bloomberg terminal, just get one of these.
Yeah, your the company's like cost would be like acquiring junk cars from like a lot and wheeling them into a room, and windows or glass or whatever, and just like what is it, hammers. Axes.
What if instead of that, what if it's just old office supplies? Like, you get new monitors or something.
Printers,
like Office Space. Yeah, remember Office Space when they're kicking the printer?
Yeah.
So, I love that movie.
That'd be pretty good, yeah. And also goes back to what Clay was mentioning before, and activating like vacant real estate, like these offices that are zombie offices, no one's ever going to go back, like just wreck the shit out of them.
I do wonder, though, do you think this is something that if it were to be in the same building that your work would be, that people would feel some type of like embarrassment, or they wouldn't want to be around their colleagues doing it? Like, what if it was like, when you're doing a police lineup and in like the one-way glass, and like you could look in at who's doing it, but they could see who's watching? That'd be hilarious.
that would be great. Yeah. All right. So that one's pretty good. Right. Yeah.
Okay. So let's see. Let's go down. let's go down back to Simponomics. And so this is one I want to ask to you before you ask it to me because it's hilarious. So, Lit, the question is Scrotox, which is Botox for your balls.
Huh. Okay, well, that's gotta hurt first.
Yeah, you're injecting, directly into the.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm gonna pass on this one. Like, just
you're gonna pass on that one.
Yeah, like, well, okay. The first thing that comes to mind, obviously, is the pain of like injecting something into your balls. But
yeah, I'm not putting a needle near those things.
Yeah, the second thing is like, what you want, like your balls to look like you're 2 years old, without wrinkles. Like, what I don't know.
Well, it's like, what do you like? What do you do? What do you do? Like, you just walk around and like, look at my, like, it's not like a forehead or something. Like,
it's not
presumably.
Like boobs. It's not like boobs
right?
where you're showing like cleavage, right? You're not showing ball cleavage. You're like that's tucked in your pants.
Imagine someone makes like a pair of pants where it's like kind of like a see-through thing, but it's like normal pants. You just only see like the balls coming out. Like that becomes like a social thing. It's like, oh, that guy's got big balls. Oh my God. It'd be a good way to let him air.
Yeah, true. Oh man. All right.
Speaking of this, actually, I have Manscaped. I one time I did it. It was on Amazon. I was thinking about purchasing one. The reviews were horrible. I was like, that actually sounds dangerous. Like that literally sounds like you're paying money to potentially injure yourself.
I've not heard good things about that. And it's like.
And they SPAC'd, right? They're a public company.
They SPAC'd, yeah. I mean, in the nice SPAC heyday of 2020. But the thing that it surprises me most is how much they rely on the female influencers to like like have the razor or whatever clippers. Like, why not have a guy like saying, yo, like I use this and it doesn't like tear up my balls, right? Like I'm not going to buy it because some like hot influencer is holding it up, right?
Yeah,
it's
like have Tom Brady do it and be like, I use it because Giselle tells me to. Then Giselle walks in and be like, wow, okay. I mean that's pretty convincing,
Yeah, no, exactly. So I definitely try not to do anything that will bring undue pain to that region of my body, but
no, thank you. But I mean, Botox did like during COVID, with everyone just staring at themselves on a screen, like plastic surgery went through the roof. So,
interesting. I have not looked at the data.
Yeah, I saw an article. I definitely don't have Botox on my forehead. I shared a post about. In Utah, apparently, the number of billboards for plastic surgeons for boob enhancements is like through the roof, apparently. And so this one guy who's a Mormon banker who will remain unnamed, he messaged me. He's like, I cannot tell you how funny this is and how true this is. He's like, everywhere outside of Salt Lake City, there's just these billboard ads. It's like, oh, interesting. I'm not sure what the Church of the Latter-day Saints has to say about that one.
Interesting. Love that. Okay. So Mark, still on this Simponomics topic. I mean, that's basically like the vast majority of the shit that our shareholders sent over. But
that's all they care.
This one is one word for you. Okay. 11. And I'm not talking about the 11 from Stranger Things, which I'm pretty sure you haven't watched the show, but I'm talking about 11, the club in Miami. Cash or pass?
I mean, as someone who has been there, for business purposes, for networking,
due diligence,
due diligence, networking, just general, a jovial time. Yeah, I would cash that 100%. I think it's a great place for equal, similar minds to find a kind of network and to grow and develop understanding of each other.
A stress relief too, as
Indeed.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, I mean that is a 100% cash, no due diligence required. Like just cash it. Like that place is always fucking busting, man. As Gen Z would say.
For real though.
For real.
No cap. No cap.
No cap. It makes all these other clubs except Tootsie's look mid.
For real. I mean, look, Tootsie, second floor Tootsie's like if you're in the general area, like the second floor though, yeah, that's it. I will say though, because when I was there for the Bitcoin conference a few weeks ago, and you unfortunately weren't there, and I went there on work purposes. At one point, I look over at the table to my right, and there's a well-known CEO, and his head was just in a pear. You know.
Oh boy! All right. Well, there you go.
This has been a really, I mean, a lot of HR violations, issues, and the funny thing, the whole funny thing. We address this while we're talking about like HR is just such a joke. It's like, okay, so we're supposed to all just pretend that no one's doing this stuff, or that it's like Deutsche Bank HR. It's like, okay, so you guys can essentially cripple an entire financial, economic system. Among other things, help to finance, genocide, a bunch of shit that they've done. But let's fire an associate for going to a strip club once. Oh, okay, that makes sense, guys. Yeah, rules for thee, not for me. Fuck that. It's like ESG. It's just all virtue signaling.
I 100% agree. It's fucking bullshit, and it's like this the grand scheme of things. Like what? A few $100, right? Like someone who probably would just cares? Doing great work. Since we've learned that the person was like a great employee, and but you have senior management that fucking runs the stock and the business to the ground, and it's like, what do they get? A little slap on the wrist. Okay, well that's double standards. So. Fuck that.
But I mean, it's like I feel like it's always the people who are the most kind of like condescending about morality that are the worst. It's like look at like Jerry Falwell Jr., where Chancellor of Liberty, and then they have the fucking like pool boy that they're paying. It's just like everyone's horny, everyone makes mistakes, blah blah blah. With social media, everything, we're gonna get to a point in society where it's all normalized. People learn, grow. Let's not fucking ruin people's careers. Deutsche Bank HR. If anyone from Deutsche Bank HR wants to come on and debate us, I would love that. I'll do it anywhere, anytime.
Let's do it. Yeah. So one thing that, what we're serving right now is being that outlet for people who are horny as hell and pent up in the the bullpens, right? It's like we're saying what they can't say. We are committing the HR violations so they don't have to, and they can keep their jobs.
But also too, like in thinking about it, there's that, but like sex jokes, it's just like they're always funny, like it's a very unifying thing. Like it's never not funny. Like it's just like, and everyone deserves to laugh during the day, That's why it's like the shit posting on LinkedIn. I think it's so funny. It's like, you're gonna have someone just going through their day, like trying to be professional, whatever, and then they just see like us making sex jokes on LinkedIn. Like that's what we're here for.
They're like, I'm here for sales advice on how to hire someone, with 2 years
with that
of
guy
experience.
Commenting on your pic is like, the Mad Men wasn't from the 1990s or whatever. You're like, oh, very helpful.
Yeah, fuck that, boomers. Anyway, so all right, I've got another one for you. Okay. Sponsored toilet paper. Companies pay to have their logo on the toilet paper.
I like this, and I think I'm thinking of a great compromise, right? So in office spaces, normally it's single-ply toilet paper, right? Everyone hates it. What if the compromise were to be, it would be 2-ply, but it would have a corporation's or random sponsor or whatever. So you're getting better quality for your ass, but it is going to have Evercore on it or something. Also, pause, the thing that you shared of Evercore changing their logo in like every country except for like the Middle East, for
that was BMW, but
BMW.
They all do it. Yeah,
I thought it was Evercore.
Yeah. It's probably the same thing there too. So
it's like, oh, okay, yeah, that's wild. But got to call people out on that. So definitely cashing on this one, but with the stipulation that it has to be 2-ply toilet paper.
Okay, yeah, it's got to be premium. You don't want any rashes.
None of that mid shit.
None of that mid shit. For real.
Wait. Speaking of Evercore, right when we started this, I'm in a group chat with some individuals, let's say, and where is this? And so one guy goes, Moran, can you explain what all this bussin' for real, no cap stuff means? Dumbass, fucking boomer.
Wait, we need to get a picture of you because I saw you posted one on your story of you got the photoshopped hair on you.
Yeah,
with the busted haircut.
FinTwit was giving me a little bit of a markup. So
Yeah, glow up.
a glow up, if you will. Exactly.
Yeah,
For real.
all right.
For real.
We'll put that picture up here. Yeah.
We'll get that in there. Oh my God. Hilarious. So yeah, then okay, I got one for you.
Mm-hmm.
And we kind of talked about this a little bit on a Cash or Pass a few times ago, but it's basically an Uber-like service, but for temporarily renting pets to meet people at a park. So like, I want to go meet a hot chick at Washington Square Park. I personally would rent a Samoyed, but like golden retriever, whatever, for a few hours. What do you think? Cash or pass?
I think it's good. I think it's I lean towards cash on this one, just because of the ability to have an everlasting supply of dogs, and for the sole purpose of guys looking to get laid, or women looking to get guys as well. Just it goes both ways.
Equal opportunity.
It all comes down to sympanomics again, right? Like like what's driving this behavior? Like, why do people want to meet people at a park? Because they want to meet someone, and meet someone they actually want to do stuff with them, adult behavior. But it's I'd say, yeah, like what's interesting is how much would people really pay for this? Like, do you pay for like by the hour, or
well, and it's too, because like there has to be a socialization period with the dog to like get used to you, right? Because if you just bring a dog who's just like not listening to you and is like doesn't like being around you, that's gonna backfire. But also too, the part I would be concerned with is it's like then you get to the point where it's like you have to kind of explain, you have to be truthful, and explain like, okay, I did just kind of rent this dog to find you, so take it as a compliment. But I think that would be kind of the tougher thing for me.
Interesting. Okay, yeah, that is
it's kind of second tier thinking right there.
That is some good DD questioning right here. I would say so you'd also have to figure out, can I sort through the type of dog I want? Will I be able to get that supply? But I don't know. Now that I think about that, it's going to be like weird, right? Like if you're going on the second date, hey, where'd your dog go? Oh, I had to give it back. Wait, what do you mean? You rented it, and now it's like, what? You rented a fucking dog? So, yeah, maybe that's more of a novelty than anything. So, with that, I will pass on this one, unfortunately.
Okay, pass
as much as I love
one.
dogs.
I got another one that I want to ask you. Because it relates to Country Club, but also it's a good time to plug the new hats that we're going to be having in the store with the kind of golf theme Country Club ones.
Yep.
So this question is to LBO Central Park, okay, and turn it into a country club with a ridiculous membership fee.
Like the entire
the entire thing.
Holy shit. That would be.
Did you see that? Did you see that thing that if you were to take all of the entire human beings in the world and put them in make them their body mass in goo or something and roll it into a ball, it would be about as wide as Manhattan. And let me just say, and whoever the fuck did that, lock them up, put them on a list. Do not allow that individual out around the public, because whoever thought of that is they have worse things planned for what they're going to do.
Yeah,
I said it first.
It is creepy.
Who thinks of that?
I don't know. I'm looking at it right now. It's got 70,000 likes, 10,000 retweets, and it is fucking gross. But
put them on a list. Put
them on the list. So I think that's a pretty interesting proposition. Now, if it's out of my reach, then I'd say fuck that, because I want to get access to this. But I do think people would pay anything for this. Same thing with the Chinese billionaires or Saudi billionaires who bought the top floors of 432 Park. That white building that looks like a pencil dick. That's basically just playground money. Like those things went for nearly like, $100 million, right? Those people would probably pay, $1 million a year or whatever just to have access to say, look, I'm going to Central Park, having like the most exclusive golf course and tennis courts and food. They already have a restaurant there. And so, yeah, I think that would be pretty good,
So I was thinking about it from and I only was thinking about this because I just recently read an article and it was talking about the kind of unequal access among different socioeconomic classes in New York to parks. And so it's like, you think about you're taking away this park in central Manhattan from everyone, and making it private for like, funny, haha. But you do have to think about that would disproportionately affect people, and even us, because we probably wouldn't be able to afford the fee, people of anything who's not a billionaire. But I'm thinking though, so for the park over in Gramercy Park, that you can only get a key to if you live there. What if some Chinese real estate? Like, what's the Chinese fund that they buy like all the hotels and stuff? Like they bought the Plaza and stuff like that. What if they just bought that park and then and then they're just charging this massive fee for any like random people? That'd be hilarious. People get so upset.
Yeah, I'm forgetting the name. I know what you're talking about, but yeah, that would be pretty funny. I think like maybe, well, the whole displacing thing is obviously concerning, and we'd also be displaced. But just from a business standpoint, I think it's something that could be sustainable. But that is obviously ignoring societal issues and was something where that would probably lead to a revolution, if you will, from the proletariat class.
Well, if you read Arbitrage Andy's tweets, we're on the verge of societal collapse. So, he could be onto something.
Yeah, there you go. Workers of the world, unite.
Unite. All right.
All right.
Next, I think I got a good one for you. So this is called Gotta Poop. And it's businesses that they can sell passes to users for their bathrooms, and users can rate them TripAdvisor style. So it's kind of like on an app, I would imagine. And, you really, quote unquote, gotta poop. And so, then you're like, oh, okay, cool. There's like one in the CVS. Let me go. And, I presume you pay a fee and then you go. But is that a subscription-based model, or is it a one-time? Like, what do you think?
No, I think that's a subscription model. So, I mean, normally I would be cracking up on this topic because it's got poop in there, and like, but the thing is, I'm actually kind of upset because this is an idea that I came up with about a decade ago, where I was like, like the first time, right, like moving into New York City, and you're like walking around, maybe you're like a tourist, or you just don't know where you got to go, and or say like you go to boozy brunch, but you're like, let's go like bar hopping or whatever. One thing that always comes to mind is, fuck, like I gotta pee right now, and normally you either have to pay to get in, or you have to wait in line for these like public bathrooms that there aren't many of them, but or they're shut down or whatever. It's like,
or they're disgusting.
Or disgusting. And it's like, why not have these small places, the mom and pops or even regular restaurants, activate a way to, rent out their bathrooms to people who need to use them? And I think that's a great idea. I didn't call it gotta poop. I forget what I called it, but it was it was something like pee to me or something like that. It was just, I think it's a great idea. Like, it's definitely only going to work for very densely populated metropolitan areas. So, I mean, New York, maybe Singapore, London, whatever, right? Like, that's where these things would go hard. So I'm fucking bullish. I would cash this, but curious what you have in mind here.
Yeah, no, I definitely like that. I think, too, like, there's a big opportunity for it abroad, because it's like, I mean, there's no more kind of, like, vulnerable feeling than when you really have to pee. Like, nothing else matters at that moment, right? Or poop. Like, and it's like you're back to, like, being a small child. Like, you could be a billionaire, but, like, if you gotta, like, shit and you feel like you're about to shit your pants, like, you're not feeling good about yourself. Like, you're
no, exactly.
You're in it. You're going through it. Like, and everyone knows what that feeling's like, but it's like, it's so embarrassing embarrassing. So yeah, I'm totally for it. It would just be an app everyone would have. It's like, I mean, what, we all have to use the bathroom, no shame in that. But
can you imagine like people have to hold up their phone like, oh, excuse me, sir, excuse me, I'm a gotta poop member. Please let me in, sir. Oh, and right away.
Like you're dining, you're on a date, and you just see someone run to the bathroom.
It's like
God, everyone's got to poop.
You cut to the front of the line, like it's like a TSA pre-check or clear for pooping in bathrooms. So, I mean, there are a lot of possibilities. Everyone has to poop every day in the world. Like, just think about the TAM, right? Like there are trillions,
about the TAM.
Not trillions of people, but there are billions of people on this planet. They all have to go. And yeah, it's like, I love it. I mean, I might have to set out and do this one, on my own and hopefully get funding.
There's probably like 8 startups working on this. They're like, we're building a team right now. We're building. Let's build this. Let's do the gotta poop, but of Web3. So we're doing just the bathrooms in Web3, right? Because everyone knows what it's like. Yeah, right? Okay, so we got that. Anyone listening, that's ours now. Sorry. But it's like, you remember playing The Sims growing up, and then it's like, your fucking character's just like shitting on the lawn or something because you can't control it. Like, they got to use the Poop Me of Web3.
Yeah, I love that.
Keep the metaverse clean with Poop Me.
Got it. Trademark that.
Oh, my God. Okay. So this one I think is good because it's like a rate your professor, which I'm sure everyone remembers from college, right? But it's for your VP, director, managing director, C-suite type thing. And I'm curious your opinion, and I want to know, one, do you think it's good? But also, two, if this were to be enacted, do you think that, some of these powers that be would get it removed from the internet very quickly?
I definitely think it's a great idea because people really need to know, like, from this upwards review, right? And the feedback rarely ever gets to them, or they rarely get punished from this. And so, yeah, I think having a public safe space for people to rate,
to
or like
on people. Wait,
shit on them or rave
Poop Me
for
app.
them.
Yeah. Let's combine the Poop Me app so you can rate your VP and director while you're pooping.
Synergies right there. All right.
Synergies. Yeah. Sorry.
So yeah, I mean, I think this would be a very huge thing because whenever you think about corporate employees, right, there's always people that just hate on fucking their senior management, or it's more rare, but it's like, hey, like I really love this person, like they you just gotta like show your praise for them, they're a mentor, whatever, and so there is no like big forum for that, unless it's Twitter, I guess, right? Like that's the de facto place where
it's
people
Twitter
just
anonymously, yeah. But I mean, in thinking about this, right? Because it's like feedback is such an opaque, thing in the financial industry, and like at Centerview, it was something that was very it was very important, and you'd have to take a lot of time to really do a good and helpful one. And like I remember, like there was this guy I worked with, or like he's a total dick, like he's horrible at managing people and stuff. And it's like, it's like I can't just go and give him a 0 or something and say he's a dick. Like that's not helpful, right? It's like, how do you write something and say like, here's what a leader should be doing, here's XYZ, and kind of removing your own ego from it. Like it's an art of feedback, right? And I think it's something that, because we live in a weird dichotomy of a society where you're not confrontational in person, but we can go and do it online, not to people's faces. It creates this weird situation. But like even for us, like I'll look at the podcast reviews sometimes and like I love it because it's either 5s or 1s. There's nothing in between. And so it's like, you're going to love us or hate us. That's great. I know who that's how I am as a person. And that's great that this is the podcast, right? But it's, it's so easy to give someone a 1 or whatever and just be like, they suck or whatever. Or if I like, they're great, they're cool. And it's like, there's occasionally 1 or 2 that are like, hey, I like this portion of like cash or pass. Like we learn that people like this portion, right? Or that it's like, okay, maybe like not a guest like this next time or more of this. Like that's helpful, right? So, and that's all in a public light, but it's easy to just be like 0, 1 star, whatever, which is what I would worry it would turn into. But I think if there were a way to, I mean, that's like a problem we're always going to have in any corporation, in any society, of like the feedback meter. Cause it's like, I think,
you're right.
I think, like most people genuinely don't attempt to be horrible people. I want to think. But like, you know, I think a lot of people just don't get the feedback that they need. And then too, when people get feedback, then it's hard for them to adjust and like, you know, be like, hey, we're all embarrassed. You know, we didn't do what we were supposed to or acted inappropriately. But like, you know, that's like the going back to the, you know, the thing about like Deutsche Bank and, you know, everyone being horny and stuff. Like everyone makes mistakes. Like people are allowed to grow and develop, you know, as humans. Like I kind of feel like maybe we're moving away from just canceling people and ruining lives as a society and like seeing that, you know, this is all a journey. People need to learn and grow, develop, mature, but who knows?
I don't think we are, unfortunately. I think it's, you know, getting worse.
I'm an optimist.
Yeah, I think people...
Do you think it's getting worse? That's interesting. You do?
Yeah, I do think it's getting worse. And I've seen even like shit on journalists from like the Washington Post that are going through it right now, which is...
Taylor Lorenz.
I think her, but it was this other guy. I forget his name. David starts with a W, last name, where he like retweeted some joke about like, you know, it's like classic like shitpost Twitter joke. And he's like getting dragged by it publicly through his colleagues, and like, wow, like why would you ever retweet something? And so I'm like, damn, all right, well, you know, it's the latest cancellation of its moment within the industry that, you know, everyone kind of hates right now. But yeah, you know, the more I think about it, I don't see a lot of people going there on the Rate Your Professor or Rate Your MD site and like putting their face out there. You know, like I'm thinking like, imagine you put your face, like, you know, your current profile photo, and just say, this MD sucked ass. Fucking dick,
God.
Right? Like,
oh my God.
It's like, well, you know,
yeah, but I mean, that's the funny, because like I do like call people out and stuff online, and like there have been many, like I have no problem debating someone, and oftentimes like some of like the people I get along with best are people who I've gotten in altercations with initially, but like I have no problem, and I find that anyone who, you know, whenever there's a disagreement or anything, once you kind of hash stuff out, you know, you get to know someone, then it's like, okay, we have much more in common than we do apart, but it's just so easy to never have to actually interact with someone. So, you know, I think that's part of it. But actually, I have one last one for you, because I realize, you know, a little golf theme one for you, since you're the golfer here. So it's a driving range with a bar, and you call it drinking and driving. What do you think about that?
So I love this one. It's I mean, basically Top Golf, right? Like, have you been to one, Mark?
Yeah, I went with an ex-girlfriend, and we were like, it was on a double date, and like one of the guys was actually on SEAL Team 6. It was like in Virginia Beach, and I'm like, let me say, I did not hit the golf ball as far as that guy did. I was a little bit emasculated.
Love it. Yeah, no, it's a great time. Like, I love going to Top Golf. Unfortunately, there's not one.
I'm trying to get some top at Top Golf. Sorry, I couldn't help myself.
Everyone's focusing on the golf, but I'm just here focusing on the top.
For real.
Yeah. So I love Top Golf, and it's great. And so I would think this is a great competitor to that. Especially like, you know, maybe converting Chelsea Piers driving range into this would be epic. And, you know, like Callaway actually acquired Top Golf for about $2 billion a few years ago. So a good precedent transaction for anyone who wants to know how big this could be. So lots of like local municipal courses that probably just get like a few people a day, you know, like a grandpa or a little kid or whatever.
Can you drink normally? Like if you were to just go to like a local, you know, course, can you just like, you know, get blasted?
I mean, like that's why they have cart girls, right? Like they bring the little nips, you know, of like Crown Royales and Jack Daniels and whatever. And transfusions are like the best when you're playing around. But like people don't really like to get bombed when they're on the driving range. They save that for when they're on the golf cart and, you know, playing 18 holes. So it's a good time. Top Golf's just like the best comp for that. So I think, like I would definitely be in there, put as much money as I can, because it's a huge market, huge market. Like if you even look at all the meme pages out there around the golf community, it's like, everyone kind of, you know, like is very engaged around this, and you know, I love it. So we'll have to get you out there too.
What if you were also to add like like bumper car driving too, and like a bunch of kind of like a batting cage, like shit like that? That could be really funny.
It could be really good, yeah. And one thing that I thought you were going with this is actually something that my friends have said before when we're on the golf course is like, hey, why don't you have like instead of your buddy sitting next to you, you have a stripper next to you. I'm like, all right, like everything just comes down to this shit. And they're like,
at the end of the day, it all comes back to that.
Yeah. And like, apparently, like I haven't been to a golf course in Las Vegas, but apparently like there's a golf course that does that. So I'm like, all right, guys, you win, right? Like I wouldn't say no, maybe, but all these are pretty good ideas, especially if they revolve around golf.
You know, like the videos of when someone like falls into the net or something. That would be me if there was a stripper like, whoops, into the net. Oh my god, hilarious! With that, I think we call it for this special edition of Cash or Pass, and we will be back in the future with another one because this was great.
We got to do a lot more of these.
Oh my god, that was a fun one.
This has been Big Swinging Decks by Litquidity with your hosts, Lit and Mark Moran. This is a Red Rock Music podcast. Our executive producer is Red Yoakum. Our associate producer is Emma Martins. For more, follow us on Instagram at Litquidity and at It's Mark Moran, or visit the official website litquidity.co. So tune in weekly to your Managing Director Secretary's favorite podcast, available wherever you listen to podcasts.